Hello, I would like to start with the image of an iceberg. You all understand icebergs, how they look like. There's the majority of the iceberg is underneath the surface of the water. Yeah? You're with me? And the tip of the iceberg is above the water. So if you come with a ship, you only see the tip of the iceberg. Psychotherapy for the first 50 years, in 1900 to 1950, was all about working with the unconscious. What relates to what is underneath the surface. This enormous iceberg. Some people say it's 95 or 99% is unconscious. And only 1% or 5% are our consciousness. So psychotherapy for a long time looked at this unconscious material. And I know that Sigmund Freud is not very popular in Australia, and I apologize that I talk about it very briefly. My mother used to be a Freudian analyst. Imagine growing up like that. So Sigmund Freud was all about thanatos, what is the lust for violence, destruction. I guess you relate to that when you go back in the prison system. Or eros, sex, lust. All this stuff we don't talk about, we normally do it. That's deep forces in us. They drive us. So what happened to our world that in psychotherapy, we stopped looking at the unconscious content underneath the surface, and we decided to go to the tip, to look at stuff that is reliable, that is observable, we can see it, that's measurable, dependable. What happened? So you might know that I come from Germany. And when you grow up in Germany, of course, you talk about the Nazis for years and years and years, how this shall never happen again. And I guess that taught me something, that the terror of the Nazis didn't only shock Germans, but the whole Western world. And what happened after you learn the horrible things that humans can do to each other, you just don't want to go there anymore. Because the world is shocked. Can humans really do an experiment with somebody who has a disability to that degree? Put people into concentration camps because they have a different ethnic background? What are we humans able to do? This is horrible. Thanatos, the lust for destruction. So what people, I guess, unconsciously decided in the 1950s, we don't want to go there anymore. We want to look at something that is now tangible. So we're going back to Pavlov, who did experiments with his dog. Come on, puppy, give me your pork. Yes, you got a sausage. That worked. So behavior therapy became very popular. In America especially, Nike, just do it. So we got this culture of doing, rather than deeply experiencing what's all there in the back of our mind, the terrors of our past that we often probably see in the prison system. It is much easier to look at, just do it. It is probably much easier to think and discuss about rehabilitation, resocialization, reintegration of our prisoners. You don't get your fingers dirty by talking about that stuff. Whereas if you look at the trauma of those prisoners, I've just listened to those gambling presentation before, and she said it has a lot to do with trauma. Of course it does. And I imagine the people in the prison as well experience all this trauma. And all what we try to do is the tip of the iceberg to be practical about it. What do we do with those prisoners? And I wonder, as a psychotherapist that works with the unconscious, I don't know what that's going to be now. So somebody who works with the unconscious is thinking, now, what does it all mean to us? Are we allowed to look at the trauma of the prisoners, to sit with them, to help them, to integrate that? Or should we just be practical about it? Just do it. Give them a sausage so they move on. Give them a treat, a reward for being good, so we can release them early. Put them back into society as quick as possible. A friend of mine had a last year suicide attempt, and I was shocked how he was only one night in a psychiatric hospital. The next day they sent him back home. Oh my God, what are we doing as a society? Why don't we take time for those people who are deeply troubled and listen to their stories about the horrors of the past, about the demons that haunt them. When you work with the unconscious, that's what you're looking at. You're not looking at the practicality of the issues. You need to sit there, and it might take years. Not this what Medicare pays of 5 to 10 sessions. It doesn't work like that with 10 to 5 sessions or 5 to 10 sessions. It takes time. I supervise clinical psychologists in the US. Some of them have a doctor in clinical psychology. And they say to me, Rob, if you do CBT well, it also takes years. You know, that message didn't come to Australia. Why are we doing this 5 to 10 sessions? Quick fix, move on. People take time to work through the trauma. And I'm thinking about an image because I come also from a theology background. I studied 10 years Catholic theology. And I think about St. George. And you might all know St. George. This is this knight or the soldier who's sitting on the back of a horse with a big spear or lance and trying to kill this dragon. You all have that image in your mind? Knight killing dragon with a big spear? You see him sometimes on church walls. St. George. There's an older story of St. George that I really relate to. And St. George in that older story is actually not killing the dragon. He is taming the dragon. And he does it by putting a necklace around the dragon's neck, connecting it to a chain, and holding on to that chain. So what happens then to St. George? He has a very powerful ally. This is what it means to deal with your trauma. When you deal with your trauma well, in a Jungian way, you integrate the trauma, and it makes you more powerful. It makes you more compassionate towards others. It makes you wiser towards life. That is true integration of trauma. So St. George now has this powerful dragon on his side. So imagine leaving the prison and having a dragon to your side. It makes you feel good and powerful. Rather than a dragon slayer who is trying to kill the dragon all the time, suppressing all the negative thoughts, keeping them down. Because it's a dragon slayer, what happens if you kill one dragon? The next day, you need to look for another dragon, and another. The killing continues. It never stops. That's the job of a dragon slayer. Whereas the moment you start facing your inner demons and integrate them and become powerful and wise and compassionate towards the world, you emerge as a different human being. So what is art therapy? Art therapy does that. We work with those inner images, make them conscious. So all this unconscious stuff pops up to the surface, and suddenly clients start crying and say, now I know why I've been doing all this for all these years. I've been hurting people because of my own inner pain. Because my dad never believed in me. Now I understand. Now I don't need to hurt people any longer. And this is what art therapy does really, really well. So for the next 2 days, I'm going to lead you on a little journey that will look at your own inner images and your own inner resources that you can go back to when you work in the prison system or wherever you are in life. So when you have moments when you feel a little bit low, those moments will make you strong again because they come from the deep depths of your own unconsciousness. This is where I'm going to lead you the next 2 days. A very powerful way of working. A lot of my depressed clients said, Rob, since I've learned that, it's more powerful than my antidepressant. And I, of course, tell them, keep taking your antidepressant. Don't stop without consulting your GP. But it's nice that we have in us some unique resources that are unknown, they're unconscious. and I'm going to lead you on a journey that you can actually find those resources. So that's my talk for now.
Wow.